longer the ingredient list, longer the medication list. A lot of people assume that just because in the per 100 ml is 10.6 grams, they don't realize the one sad part is that every single label today in India is in English. And only about 15% of India knows how to read and write English. The first thing I want everyone to notice is the can is open. Someone has been drinking from this. Alcohol, the one good thing is that knowing Gen Z, they're probably substituting with a lot more other things. Puchka is way better than Pani Puri and Golgappa and all the other nonsense you get in other cities.
Way better than Pani Puri.
Wait.
Governments of not only India but all governments across the world are almost hand in glove with all the alcohol companies because we'll have to maybe...
Whoa, that's... Yeah, we'll have to cut that. Hi from Brut. Welcome to The Other Side. This is me, Mehul. And today, on The Other Side, we're going to be delving into a man who has made it his mission, okay? He has made it his mission to educate or to rightfully educate the entire consumerism of India towards a healthier lifestyle. What is the tagline? Label Padhega India.
Yes, label Padhega India.
Absolutely. And I'm going to have you sing the song as well.
Oh no, man.
But chat, please give it up for Food Pharmer, aka Revant Himatsingka. Besides what you do in your life right now, what do you like to do?
That's such an amazing question because I feel like in the last 1.5 years, I have forgotten Revant Himatsingka. Like I have now become Food Pharmer and I've forgotten. I used to watch so many movies and TV shows and things like that. Mm-hmm. I've watched the entire IMDb top 250 list, and I used to watch movies from 1920s, 1930s, different languages.
Crazy.
But after the last 1.5 years, it's just been so busy, and there is also there's a lot of guilt involved again because every time you watch a movie, you know that there are 10 people who are asking for a time with you. They are like, oh, can I get on a meeting with you? Can you help me? I am starting this clean packaged food company. Can you help me, advise me on how to start the clean packaged food company? There are so many people who are reaching out to me and I feel like I need to reply to them or can I watch that movie? And that pressure is also there.
So you do take up such projects? If people do come to you?
Yeah, all the time.
Nice.
People will call me for something or the other. For example, I'll get during dinner time and during lunch time, I all the time get tagged on मेरे खाने में ये मक्खी आ गया.
अरे
ये फूड डिलीवरी ऐप ने मेरा खाना 1 घंटा लेट डिलीवर किया.
What connection?
Yeah, like anything connected to food. I ordered for something. I ordered for paneer. I got tofu. So can you fight against this giant? Literally.
Oh my God.
Any problem with their food. Some things I understand. If you get mold in your food, you have insect in your food. Then they also you ordered something in a restaurant. You got an insect, and they'll tag me, can you do something about it? They'll tag me on Twitter, they'll send me an email. But some other things are more extreme, like I just said, that they'll get a food half an hour late and then they'll tag me and then they'll email me, oh, can you fight with this company? And I'm like, आपका खाना आधा घंटा late आया और मैं यहाँ legally उनसे लड़ूं.
What? Wow. Some people, it's always like that, right? Things are always taken out of context. But we came back to your food. We don't want to go there. What else do you like to do?
I would say...
Travel, sports?
I like to watch some sports. I used to watch a lot of cricket. Once again, I have stopped a lot recently. Movies, huge movie buff.
You're gymming?
Yeah,
you're gymming. I saw your 3-month transformation.
Yeah, I don't enjoy it as much. I would say I'm right now doing it more as, okay, I want to be healthy. That's why I'm doing it. It's not something ideally I would not do that and still be healthy. It's not that I enjoy going to the gym right now, at least. Maybe I'll start.
Who does?
Yeah, I guess some people, I just feel like they're like, oh, I'll just wake up and I'll just go to the gym and it's my thing. I enjoy playing sports. So I would love to play squash or even pickleball or whatever, but that is fun for me. Gym is not that fun for me. I do see the benefits of it, of course. I also like philosophy in general.
Wow.
So sometimes watching videos or reading books on some people, not necessarily philosophy per se, but like some thought leaders. So like Peter Singer. So people like him, like, I like to hear what he's saying. So that's something which I also enjoy doing.
Nice. I mean, it's good to know about Food Pharmer other than food.
Yeah.
We have a few things just so that our audiences can help better understand how to read a label of different things.
Sure.
I want to show you some few packages and
Sure.
I want to know how we can read the labels of it. This is the first one.
Okay, so this is essentially chocolate. So one thing I'll just say is that before we even get here, there are many protein bars, so-called protein bars, which are essentially chocolates, but they market themselves as a protein bar.
Yeah.
So they'll have like 2-3 grams of protein, and they'll call themselves a protein bar. So this is not a protein bar; it's a chocolate.
Yeah.
That differentiation needs to be there. So some people I've seen, unfortunately, spend like 100-200 rupees on it, thinking it's a protein bar.
Yeah. A lot of people just eat it thinking, oh, I'm hungry and it's healthy.
Yeah.
It's become healthy now.
Yeah, so that's one thing. With this particular product, I would say that you have to always see that the ingredients are listed in order of weight. So the first ingredient out here is sugar, then milk solids, and then the cocoa butter, and then cocoa solid. The first ingredient itself is sugar. So basically, this is filled with sugar. Having said that, this particular, this is essentially a chocolate. They're not calling themselves healthy. So I don't have as much of a problem comparatively of brands which are openly unhealthy. I have a problem with brands which claim to be healthy, which are not.
False advertising and marketing, of course.
Yeah. So this, at least when people are having this product, they already know it's unhealthy, so they probably won't have too much of it.
Okay. So we know one that would be right up your sleeve.
So this particular product essentially is like a packaged juice, and I am extremely against packaged juice. Even fresh juices often have a lot of sugar, but packaged juices have even more sugar. So out here you see per 100 ml, it has 10.8 grams of sugar. So
And that's just per 100 ml. This is, I guess, 200?
Yeah. So first of all, you have to realize when you say 10.8 gram sugar, 1 teaspoon is 4.2 gram sugar. So this basically per 100 ml has around 2.5 to 3 teaspoons of sugar.
So that small thing has approximately 5 to 6 spoons
because
of sugar.
Per 100 ml, if it's 2.5 teaspoons, this is around 200 ml, so it's around 5 teaspoons of sugar basically.
Oh my god.
And this is why when you have an orange juice at home, most likely you don't put sugar on top. That's why they say packaged or orange juice is way worse than fresh orange juice. Fresh orange juice also has a lot of natural sugar, but at least you don't add the sugar on top.
Yeah.
But these companies, they add sugar on top as well.
Of course. It says no palm oil here, so...
I mean, no palm oil is just one thing. There are many different types of oil. Not necessarily that palm oil is the only oil which is necessarily bad for you. The quantity of oil, which is what is more important. What I will say is that longer the ingredient list, longer the medication list. So try to avoid products which have too many ingredients. In most cases, they're not that good for you. In some cases, of course, they may be fine. So whenever you pick up a packaged food, try to opt for those products which are single ingredient. For example, if you're buying a peanut butter, the best peanut butter are those which have only one ingredient, peanuts. The best oats are those which have only one ingredient, oats. If you have too many ingredients, it's most likely not that good for you.
Wow, we just saw Food Pharmer video live. Okay, last one, and this one might just be your favorite or your least favorite, I don't know.
Okay. The first thing I want everyone to notice that the can is open. Someone has been drinking from this. The other thing which I'll just say is that similarly that per 100 ml this has 10.6 grams of sugar. So like we heard in the other example.
And this is like 300 ml.
Yeah, so this is around approximately 8 teaspoons of sugar totally.
Oh
so
my god.
So a lot of people would have half a teaspoon of sugar for their chai. And they're like, oh, they're very proud that, oh, I have only half a teaspoon of sugar in my chai. And then in a weekend, they'll just drink a full 300 ml Coke. Okay. So clearly why it was open. That's the challenge that people don't realize. People know soft drinks are bad for you. They don't realize how bad it is for you. And that's why I say that you should know this basic math, whatever we just did right now.
Exactly.
This basic math, you should understand how to do that. If it's per 100 ml, this is how much it is. So per 300 ml, it will be this much multiplied by 3. A lot of people assume that just because in the per 100 ml is 10.6 grams, they don't realize it's per 100 ml. They just see 10.6 grams of added sugar. And same with calories. They just see the calorie amount. They don't see that on top it's written per 100 ml. So they don't multiply it by 3. They think that the entire can has that many calories.
Wow, crazy. So now that you have a little more perspective, I hope you make healthier choices. If a person, any human, has a US job, he's secured an admission to IIM Bangalore as you had, but didn't take it up, how does he leave all of those luxuries, all of the monetary benefits attached to that and make it his mission? Of course, you weren't this famous before, so you would have had your time of lows, your demotivation towards this. Because
I still have them, but yeah.
Absolutely, right? So please take us to the other side of what really pushed you to become Food Pharmer.
So I spent 13 years in the US, and when I was in the US, I used to see packaged food all around me. And in the US, people have even more packaged food than they have in India.
Yeah.
So I used to get frustrated every time I used to go to the grocery store and I used to pick up something and it's junk and unhealthy. And I used to get bothered by it. So I wanted to do something about packaged food and try to clean it up. But rather than doing it in the US, I would rather do it in India where I'm from.
Yeah.
It's kind of stupid to fight a first world problem. Rather, I would come back to India and try to solve it in India where there's even more health illiteracy, I would say.
Yeah.
And another point was that I used to work at a consulting company. And we used to often work with the leading food companies in the world. And all of them used to project their growth coming from India.
Okay.
Because the US market and the European market is saturated.
Yeah.
So they think all the growth is now going to come from India. So I was like, all the junk food companies in the next 10 years are trying to grow in India.
Yeah.
So I am in a privileged position that I know this information and have also, as 10 years ago, I studied nutrition. So I have some knowledge in nutrition as well. So why don't I leave the US, come back to India and try to make India health literate and fight against these companies? Earlier I was consulting those companies. Now why don't I take the other side and try to help India so that the growth which they are projecting actually does not happen as much. And the problem is that in India, we are very education obsessed. However, while we are educated, we are not health literate.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's a very big difference between being educated and being health literate. You can go to the smartest people in the country, the people who've ranked number 1 in their IIT entrance exams and DU and whatever IIM, and they may have secured funding from the biggest companies. While they may be super smart and educated, they're often not health literate in the sense that they don't know enough. They don't know what an artificial sweetener is, or what artificial colors are there in the food, or how much protein you need in your day. So I just thought that, why not do something to try to get India to become health literate as well. And I mean, this is a very long way of saying that's what many small factors like these which led me to leave the US and come back to India.
Absolutely. I mean, I want to get into your personal life a little bit more, but one thing you said really struck me. You said India is, while it is educated, it is health illiterate, or not yet completely literate in the sense of what they're intaking, especially in terms of junk food, especially in terms of junk food that is coming out of other countries, because the quality is quite low. But what about the other side? How are we going to educate tier 3 into properly reading the content? Because there's no literacy there, right? Both the things are missing.
You're right. It's a sad situation. Although one thing I personally believe that even the tier 4 and tier 3, even they do have access to the 10 rupee chips and the 10 rupee soft
Exactly.
drinks. So they do have access.
Yeah.
The one sad part is that every single label today in India is in English. And only about 15% of India knows how to read and write English. And the labels they write are also in a very tiny font.
Yep.
Like, they use font 4 or font 6 or something in the ingredient list.
And also they use very technical industrial terms.
Exactly. So it's technical terms, it's in English and very tiny font. So these are the 3 things which I'm trying to fight. So I've been always talking about, can we not have the labels in 2 languages? One, maybe English if you want, and then the language of the state.
Yeah.
So you can have 2 languages per label, or alternatively, if that's not possible, then can you not have a QR code where you scan the QR code and it'll give you the option of 20 different languages? Of course, not everyone has access to a phone, but now I think India is getting very, very smartphone friendly. So it should be not that difficult.
Yeah.
So at least when you're scanning the barcode or of a biscuit, then at least you have the option that you can see it in the language you are comfortable with, and potentially you can make a better choice then. So these are certain things which I think we need to fight against.
Absolutely. That's such a great idea. Have you started working towards it?
So I have spoken about it a lot in terms of work. So I'm working with an app called Truthin,
Okay.
where you don't exactly do the language thing. What you do is you scan the label. So you scan the barcode and it'll give you a health rating.
Okay.
So like A, B, C, D. So that's what I've been sort of working with so far.
Oh, wow.
And so hopefully I think what we need to do is also increase the language part. Although I do think even the people who don't know English very, very well, they often do know the basics of A, B, C, D. So at least that could, and we're also trying to color code it. So it's like, green, red and things like that. So I think at least you'll get some hint into whether this product is good or not.
Absolutely. Awareness is a must, especially with the growing culture of junk food right now. I think it's also after COVID that we've just sort of realized that it's so easy to order something online. And of course, for the brands that have those really quick deliveries, it's super, super easy. How do we fight that?
Of course, that's a big challenge. And we grew up in India hearing stories of our parents saying they used to walk 10 kilometers to go to school. And we used to at least, they used to walk a lot. We barely walk.
Yeah.
And we earlier, at least, even when we were buying junk food, at least we were walking to the store to buy junk food. Now we don't even walk to buy the junk food. The junk food is coming to us. So it is a challenge. I myself have seen myself ordering an ice cream after dinner, but I would not have done that. But just because of convenience and delivery, you are like a slight craving, like a 10% craving. You are like, okay, why not order it? Exactly. Earlier, if it was taking 1 hour for the food to come, you would be like, okay, it's fine. I'll stay healthy today. I'll eat it tomorrow. But now with the most minute craving, you're ordering it. So of course, it's very easy to order junk food. That is a challenge.
From the US to India, whilst working with so many brands and now against so many, if I can say that, what's the difference that you see in your life personally?
In some ways, a lot has changed. In some ways, not as much. I was fighting for some of these causes even before. So 10 years ago, I had written a book called Selfienomics.
Yeah.
And in that book, I had a whole chapter on nutrition labels. And I have also spoken at various events, public events. You can find it on YouTube, like with 8 years ago, 10 years ago, where I've been speaking about these topics.
Yeah.
So in that sense, the effort has still continued. The difference is that now you're getting recognition for that effort. So now people are following you, they're supporting you and things like that. So in that sense, now, of course, that you get this sort of recognition, you get that support is pretty nice. So you get invited to all of these events to speak and people to share your voice and things like that. But it's also become at a cost that, especially in the first 8 to 10 months, I was very, very scared. I would say my family was scared that I would never announce that I'm going to a particular event. Because what if something happens?
Of course, yeah.
And I wouldn't, even till date, I don't share anything personal on my Instagram. So you must have never seen any picture of me with a relative, friend, family, never. Because it's a bit risky.
Obviously, you're
because
fighting giants, right?
Yeah.
As they say.
So I've never shared any of that, but I am trying to be taking it in my stride. So now I'm stepping out more. I realize I cannot always do this, that I'm just stuck in my room or something like that. So yeah, taking it a day at a time, and let's see how it goes.
How healthy are you?
I think healthy is a very subjective term. I would say I eat relatively clean. But I still don't do every single thing that I would like to do. For example, my New Year's resolution was to drink more water and to sleep more. So I don't think I sleep enough, and I don't think I drink enough water. So yes, I eat relatively clean, but I don't do many things which I should be doing, and I know that I should be doing. So healthy, again, there's like health, I feel, is so broad that it constitutes too many things. So I would say I'm moderately healthy, but again, like there are some aspects of me which is good, something which I want to improve on.
I think it's a culmination of your food habits, your sleep cycle, your routine as well, right? How do we trust an organic food source? Because there's a lot of people who claim their food is organic, but there's always a problem in trying to recognize what organic is.
I'm maybe a promoter of organic for those who can afford it. I do feel organic food today is very expensive.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, I don't think I've ever made a video that, everyone should eat organic or anything like that, because I do understand that it's very, very expensive. And also, as you said, it's very hard to differentiate what is actually organic and not. So I am not sure, there are versions of the story which I've heard. Someone's told me that you can potentially bribe your way into getting an organic certificate, and I've also heard it's very, very difficult to get it because there's serious inspection. So I don't know which story is true. I would say if you can afford it, try to eat it, because when something is not organic, you for sure know that it's probably filled with all sorts of pesticides and things like that. Yeah.
Okay, Revant, there are a lot of trends that follow with the new year. There is always a huge influx of motivation, of being healthy and of consciousness right in the beginning of the year. And that sort of dies down towards the end of the year. And this is my personal opinion. I do not believe in resolutions, because I feel like if you do want to create a routine, that can also be on the last day of December. That can also be on the first day of December as well.
I think for me, it's just been taking it one step at a time. Every time I've tried to make 20 changes or to make a 180-degree transformation, it's not worked for me.
Yeah.
But if I'm like, this is this one habit I want to change, or max 2 habits I want to change, that has been more sustainable. And instead of focusing what to remove, I often have tried to even focus on what I can add. For example, if the goal is to suppose not eat this, instead of focusing on the not eating that, I would focus on what I can add to my diet. So if I add this food, which is both healthy and tasty, my stomach would automatically be more full. So automatically I would have a lesser likelihood of consuming this.
Yeah.
So I just like to try to flip the situation around a bit. And that's helped with me. But again, this is a very, very personal choice, and like everyone has their own way of how they build habits. So I don't want to sound like some guru who knows everything, and it's a very, very personal way you deal with these changes.
Okay. And what about, you're a 30-something?
Yeah.
How were you in your 20s?
Exactly like how I am right now.
Are you serious?
No, as in, I would say that when I was in my early 20s, I used to eat a lot of junk food. And I was in the US, and there was just so much junk food available. And unfortunately, junk food often is the cheapest food as well. So,
and it's the tastiest, you can't
yeah,
deny.
It's just that they fulfill the taste and the price point and the convenience. So the other side is just the health aspect. So that is like a challenge. And in the US, when you're spending in dollars, you want to save as much as possible. So that used to be a challenge. So in that sense, I've changed a lot. Also, I think the responsibilities of, like, after coming back to India and becoming Food Pharmer, I sort of sometimes feel I'm personally responsible for the lives of many people's health. The health of like millions of people because they trust me with their health. So I get very, I just find that change in me that I sometimes have become more serious as a person as a result. Like if you like know me from way before, people used to know me for being the goofiest person in the room and having a lot of fun and joking around the entire time. To now, because I feel there's so much trust and responsibility on my shoulders, I've also become a more serious person, which is both good and bad. Like, my family is always like, oh, why are you so stressed? Why are you so concerned? And like things like that. So I think that is a challenge because I always feel like, what if I say this one thing and it turns out to be negative? Or maybe I say this one thing and what if it's not scientifically accurate? And the challenge is that you're saying something about food which is watched by millions of people. But even if you're scientifically accurate, not everyone knows how to apply it. Suppose you say eat more protein. Someone may eat too much protein altogether and may add too much protein altogether in the diet. Or even if you add more protein, you need to phase it out. You add 5 grams at a time, not like 50 grams at a time.
Correct.
So you're always scared that what if I say something and it backfires on someone's health because they can have a very major consequence. So it's pretty challenging. So I feel so you asked me a simple question, how are you 20s and 30s? But I feel like the responsibility of whatever has been happening on the internet with the health, and I have somehow become the face of food safety in many ways, and people keep tagging me on a lot of food safety related things.
Yeah.
So I feel that has changed me and has made me into a more serious person and things like that.
Yeah, next time just tell your parents, heavy is the head that wears the crown, dad or mom. But I think that also comes with a lot of scrutiny from the public, right? As you very well mentioned that even one thing, if I'm, not accurate about something, it is going to affect you a lot more than it's going to affect another person who says something completely wrong, but there might not be 1,000 people listening to them as well.
Or someone who's a major celebrity and people are used to them saying something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't mind, A-list Bollywood person promoting chips. No one's going to be like, oh, we're going to stop watching your movies because you're promoting chips. And on the other hand, forget chips. I barely do brand deals. But for example, a mobile phone company had reached out to me and were asking me to promote the mobile phone company. And I don't use that phone myself. So I just thought it would look very inauthentic for me to promote that mobile phone company. So I did not do that. So even something forget promoting junk food. Even a mobile company, phone company, which I was not using, I was feeling conscious of. Because I would feel like, if I say this mobile phone is good, it just looks so inauthentic. My followers will be like, okay, he's just doing it because he's been paid.
Yeah.
Of course, I won't promote junk food, but even these kind of things are you feel like you have a more responsibility than the average public figure or celebrity or anything like that.
Actually, yeah, you gave me a great segue into what I really wanted to touch upon in the sense of, yes, you have a lot of audiences watching you, but in the sense that you do, I'm not going to say go against or fight with, but you do bring light to a lot of things that gigantic brands do, right? So that obviously in certain ways does hamper with your brand associations. So how do you manage that in your life? Because the career field that you've chosen, it is ultimately making money would come out of brand associations in a way. So how would you balance that?
It's a very challenging situation. So far what I've done is I've done I don't do food brand deals so far. So I've been doing non-food health deals. For example, there was a fitness ring. I promoted that and I used that myself for a few months before promoting it.
Yeah.
And I've done few things like that. And I also try my best so that if I am promoting a brand, I should be allowed to criticize that brand as well.
Yeah.
So I made a video on a particular water purifier and I said, these are the 3 good things about the water purifier and this is the 1 bad thing about the water purifier. And I had given them the stipulation, if you want me, I will say both sides. And as a result, it was very good in the sense that I got so many positive comments. And even the brand got a lot more sales because there was a lot more trust associated. Usually the problem is in ads. People just say positive, positive, positive.
Correct.
And people know that you are lying.
Yeah.
But when you say both positive and negative, then even the end user trusts you more, the conversions increase.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I've been doing some very, very select paid deals, and most often I only do it when they allow me to say both positive and negative. And I also try my best to not rely on advertisement. For example, sometimes I do paid events. So I'll go to a company and I'll teach them about health. Like I'll teach them how to read a label and things like that. And that is a paid thing. So the company pays me to teach all their employees about health.
Of course. So that's another channel that you...
Yeah. So I think that is a much safer route. There's no... there's no videos you need to make and all of that. So I like that part the most.
Yeah, and I think you can keep up with your brand as well in order to, while doing that. How do we do it? How do we tell Indians to stop drinking? I think it's high time we get on the US train here at least.
So I don't know how much of the US train we want to get into, but what I will say is that alcohol, the one good thing is that I had read that Gen Z is drinking lesser alcohol than millennials. I'm not sure if that's true, but I had read that. Probably knowing Gen Z, they're probably substituting with a lot more other things. So I don't believe that they're not consuming anything. But alcohol, there's a lot of peer pressure. So I recently met someone who said that they started having some sparkling water at parties so that they could pretend to everyone else that they're having vodka.
Okay.
So it's still, in one sense, that they're having it's a positive habit. But they're still pretending and they're lying to everyone else that, this is vodka. Because they have to keep up with the trend, the image that, they are cool enough.
Yeah.
Because if they say that it's sparkling water, people will think they're not cool. So that is the sad part, that there is such a strong peer pressure and people are having it it's because it's so normalized.
But sorry to cut you off there, but I think that's where, a positive awareness towards this comes in, right? Like, why do we have to tell people that they're only cool when they drink alcohol? Why can't we say they're in fact much cooler if they choose not to drink alcohol? Because that is ultimately what is good for them, their family, their body, all of that.
Yeah, so I think that messaging needs to come out a lot more.
We're waiting for that video.
Yeah. I need to. So I did make a video not on alcohol but in relation to smoking.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It was quite catchy. I love the tune.
Yeah, so there was an anti-smoking song we were making, like how, not smoking is cool. So similarly, I think we need a ban for alcohol, or maybe not ban, but like something in the equivalent.
Yeah.
So that I think probably should be my next song after Label Padega India.
Waiting, if you need a choreographer.
Yeah. Another interesting thing about alcohol. People, you have a milk bottle will have a label.
Yeah.
A soft drink bottle will have a label. A chips bottle will have a label. Alcohol bottle does not have any nutrition label, does not have any ingredient list. It's because the lobbying of the alcohol industry is so strong that all over the world, not only in India, they don't write how much a whiskey bottle, how many calories does it have. They don't write how much sugar there is in the white wine. White wine will often taste super sweet, but they won't say how much sugar. Why? Because of the lobbying. And that's the crazy part, and how the governments of not only India, but all governments across the world are almost hand in glove with all the alcohol companies, because there's so many people are like, I'm not going to have this XYZ thing because it's high in calories and things like that. But then they'll go and binge drink and have 4-5 glasses of whiskey and things like that. But hypothetically, if it was very clearly mentioned this has this many calories, it has this many grams of sugar, and this has this much. It potentially would have been able to reduce it a little bit. Some people would still not change because cigarettes have disturbing pictures, but still people smoke. But it potentially may have reduced it.
Yeah.
That's another sad part, that black label does not have a label. In India, the food habits are so diverse, the economics are so diverse, that it's hard to even say, like, sometimes they criticize biscuits. But to a very, very poor person, the 3 rupee biscuit is their only source of livelihood, like, in terms of, like, the calories.
Correct.
So for me to even say that this biscuit brand is not good for you, sometimes it feels like, am I actually talking to only tier 1 India? So it's a very, very tricky thing, and it's a lot of ethics also involved, vegetarian, non-vegetarian. There's so much to food that it's very, very hard to be fully nuanced and being able to respect everyone's culture and everyone's health preferences and everything.
But I think, Revant, you found your voice, within which, when I say this, I think you have, you found your audience, you found the way that the audience listen to you, you know how to tap into that.
I just did trial and error. Earlier I was called Revant Himmat, like my Insta handle. I changed it to Food Pharmer, and the first video of Food Pharmer blew up. So I realized that maybe people like Food Pharmer more than Revant Himmat. So I just continued, and my second video as Food Pharmer blew up, third video blew up, fourth video blew up, so it just continued to blow up. So that's what the audience basically told me what kind of a style they like of me. So in the beginning, for example, when I would say something serious, like when I'm talking about food, but I would interject humor.
Yeah.
I would say something funny-ish.
Yeah.
While I'm talking about it, then those kind of videos would do really well.
Yeah.
So I think that's what, like, you just listen to what the audience says and just try to do more of it. At the same time, I'm someone who has a lot of interest. For example, people want me to talk only about food. But here I am making a podcast with an auto driver. So some people are like, oh, well, you're distracted. Why don't you focus only on food? Food itself is a big enough problem. So that is something which, like, I am someone who has a lot of interest and I want to do all of that. So that's a challenge sometimes. If I was a bit simpler, I could have, probably doubled down more. But I want to do whatever, like, I feel is important.
Wow, very well said. Actually, yeah, this generation of ours, it just doesn't believe in, be really good at one thing and do that for the rest of your life. I think it's do as much as you can, right?
Yeah.
And try and tick as many boxes as you can. But congratulations on your Honorary Doctorate.
Thank you.
What does that mean?
That's a good question. Even I asked them.
For our audience.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think it technically, like, I got a degree, like, from them, and like, they called me to their graduation ceremony, and they gave me, along with all the other PhDs, they gave me like a PhD degree, and for the contribution I've made to India's health, that's what they said.
Yeah.
So, like, what it is, it's essentially just like an award, you would say, like, and obviously it's a very special award. Technically, I can call myself, I think, Dr. Revant Himatsingka.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, can you now write your name as Dr. Revant?
I think it's a grey area.
Yeah.
I think technically I can, but it's, I think, potentially frowned upon.
Yeah.
A lot of people do use it. I am unsure whether or not I'll use it. I'll maybe do a poll on my audience, and whatever they'll say, I'll just do that. Whenever I'm confused about something, I just do a poll. Whatever the audience will say, I'll just do that. And I also have a benchmark. So it's not that if 51% says yes, I'll do it. I'll have like, okay, if more than 80% of you say yes, then I'll do it.
But what if you are of the other opinion sometimes? What do you do then?
Then I won't do it either ways. If I'm confused, then I'll put up a poll. But if I'm for sure that, this is not at all right for me, then I won't do it.
If not this, where would you be in life? Quickly, like in 10 seconds, tell me.
I would be in the US working at a consulting job. And I would
for a brand?
No, I would be hating it. No, I think if not that, I would continue to try different paths. Like, I said, I had written a book before. Then I started with social media. I would have found some other opportunity to try to increase awareness about the social issues that I care about.
Your favorite thing to eat when you were younger?
In
It's
terms,
like before 10, before 20.
I'm from Calcutta, so puchka. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So puchka, and one more thing, puchka is way better than pani puri and golgappa and all the other nonsense you get in other cities.
Wait, what's the difference? I thought puchka was golgappa was
No,
pani puri.
that's what someone from Delhi will tell you, but puchka is way, way tastier.
Oh.
There's some minute differences, like, you know, in some cities they'll put alus, in some cities they'll put chana.
Sprouts.
Yeah, and there's some things like that. I don't know the full technicalities. Some cities they put sweet water, some cities they don't. But by and large, yeah.
Okay, I know not many people will ask you this, but your favorite unhealthy thing to eat when you were younger?
Instant noodles, like I've mentioned the brand as well, like Maggie. So instant noodles, ice cream. These are the two junk foods which I enjoy even till date. The brand which I have criticized them many times. I've made like 5 videos against them, but I sometimes, like, not that frequently, I do eat it as well. And I've been very open about it, that I don't like the fact that you do false marketing. I don't like the fact that you call yourself healthy. I don't deny that you're tasty.
True.
Yeah.
What's your favorite current track that you're listening to? Do you enjoy music?
I enjoy music. What's the current favorite track? Right now, like, you know, with all the Insta reels, what's that song, the remix of Dua Lipa and that,
Levitating.
Levitating with the
Shah Rukh Khan.
Shah Rukh Khan part of it though. Or I would say the Abhijit, the singer, I think.
Yeah.
So I think like a lot of, I think I read a post, you know, everyone's calling it Shah Rukh Khan song, but it's actually sung, no one's talking about the singer. So yeah,
So
I think
true.
that song is stuck in my head just because of the reels. It's not that any other reason. And that other Diljit Dosanjh reel is also trending. I think it was trending 1 month ago about some lady crying. I think that also got stuck in my head now.
Him singing for her on the stage.
I just want to say one thing. I often make videos that don't eat this, don't eat that. But remember one thing, take everything with a pinch of salt, including my videos. So eat everything, but in moderation. Sometimes because it's just a 1 minute video, I don't get the full opportunity to give both sides of the story and to be able to explain the full nuance. It's not that I'm asking you to not touch this food. I'm not saying don't ever touch a soft drink or don't ever touch an instant noodle. I'm just saying don't have it too often and know what it has before you consume it. So consume everything in moderation and have a fun life.
Thank you so much. I'm sure they will read the label going forward.
Thank you
for coming to the other side.
Thank you so much.
Okay, that's a wrap.